First of all, we can introduce ourselves. I'm Pascal. I'm the founder of the school, and I'm associate professor at the School for Advanced Studies in Social Sciences, which is the École des Hautes Études en Sciences Sociales. And the idea of creating a lab school was inspired by the model of lab school that John Dewey created in the end of the 19th century, having observed that there's a lack of connection between teachers and practitioners in schools and researchers. And it was both ways. Researchers didn't know enough of what was going on in the schools, and school teachers didn't get a chance to know that much about what research was dealing with. So there was no lab school in France until 2017, and we created the first one, and we hope there will be many more in the future. And I'm mostly dealing with research and with the development of the school, which means that I'm currently quite involved with Sarah and other teachers in the accreditation process of the Baccalauréat International. But I'm not teaching in the school. So I let the other colleagues introduce themselves.
So hello, my name is Sarah, and I am a science teacher, but I'm also, and the reason why I'm going to be talking a lot with you tonight is that I am the IB coordinator. So I'm in charge of those 2 years of the diploma program, which are the première and terminale years. So I'm in charge of helping the students transition to the high school and developing a curriculum that works for them for the high school and beyond. So yeah, that's what I do.
Marlène and Victorine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Marlène, it's for the recording. I don't think that Marlène is with us.
Okay, right.
Hello, I'm Victorine. I am the newbies in lab school. Come to lab school in last June, and I am just in charge of the financial and human resources direction. So for all financial questions, you will have my contact.
Thank you very much, Victorine. So Marlène will join us at some point. So when she's here, she can introduce herself. I've seen that she removed her mic. So are you here, Marlène? No, maybe she's not. Okay, so, well, as I just said, Paris Lab School is the first lab school that was created in 2017. And I think in the next slide, you can have a little view on our short life. It's not so long yet, but we started in 2017 with 27 students, only from elementary schools, grade 3 to 5. And we grew at the same time, along with our students. So the following years, yeah, we opened a first year of middle school, 6e, and then the lower levels from grade 1. And since 2020, we're in the 11th arrondissement in Paris, and we have students from grade 1 to 8. And currently, we open for the first year the level lycée, so the classe de seconde. And it's been quite a interesting discussion to decide what we were going to do about the lycée. We wanted to have something that was in the same mindset as the lab school, but at the same time, for those of you who are aware of the French system, there has been lots of reforms, especially on the lycée level, and it wasn't very clear to us whether what we could propose would be very suitable. So we discovered the IB and decided to go for IB accreditation. We don't have yet, this is important to say, we don't have this accreditation yet. We're currently under the process, but we've had our first inspection in October, and it's on the right track. So there should be, we're fingers crossed, but there's no red flags for that. And so the seconde, and also grade 10 that we opened this year was intended both as a possibility for students who wouldn't want to stay with us in the future, but who want to go back to a normal lycée. So we're following still the French curriculum, but at the same time, we introduced some elements that would be a kind of introduction to the IB. so that students could also have an idea of what's expected and what's going to happen next year. And as usually, we usually have very few students in this level. So we only have 7 students in grade 10 this year, but we have more students in grade 9 who will be in grade 10 next year. And so the first year of the DP, the diploma for IB, will open in 2023. That's next fall, and our first team of students who should present it would do it in the year 2024-2025, so in May 2025. Sarah, can we maybe go to the next? Another big change is that next year we're opening new premises in Montreuil, which is not very far from our current locations, about between 20 minutes and half an hour by metro. And it's a very beautiful building, as I will show you some pictures on the next slide. And it's a building that we're going to really furnish and organize with the IB in mind and with the well-being of children and all the things that are very important for us. I'm not going to get into details into the general presentation of the school, because we have all that on the website, but well-being and creating an optimal environment for learning is one of our goals. And so we have this beautiful building with a courtyard. There will be a completely different setting. We'll even have aquaponie. Maybe Sarah will tell you something about that later on. And there are 3 stories, and the main activities in the first story that you can see on the left side, and the picture on the left side, will be for sciences, and we'll have a lab. The first floor will be mainly for language, literature, and we'll have a library. And the second floor, the third story, will be the art story, and we're going to offer IB music, so we'll also have a music studio there. So if you have questions about the building, we can tell you about it later. We'll be able to enter the building either in the spring, maybe if all the work is finished, or at the latest in September. And so, as I just said, for the seconde, it's seconde générale, as we say in French. We were following the normal socle commun, the common core, socle commun de connaissances, compétences et culture de l'éducation nationale. But if students have special needs, for instance, if they want to do high-level sport or high-level music, it can be quite flexible, because in some cases we can just arrange that they get a free afternoon or some kind of special organization. We don't have it at the moment, but we do have students who do music or sport on quite high level. So it's just so that you know that it's possible. And here is a timetable. As you can see, the school is following the curriculum. So we have French, we have English, but it's bilingual, and all the students can be sometimes in groups with, for instance, grades 9 and 10 together, or for the youngest students, grade 7 and 8 can be sometimes together. Also for English, grades 9 and 10 are together, depending on the levels, because some of them have very good command of English or are completely bilingual. And some French-speaking students still need more time and support with English. So we have different groups depending on the level. And we're going to introduce you to the whole team later on. So you'll meet all teachers. They all know both French and English. They are all able to teach in both languages, and maybe Sarah will tell you more about it. For troisième and seconde, mostly science and math are taught in English already, and history and geography and French are taught mostly in French. So if you have questions about the timetable here later on. Oh, and one more thing, the second foreign language is Spanish. We don't have, at the moment, we don't have any other language, although it's in our mind to offer more options in the future. Sarah, do you want to go on? Or Marlene, are you around? Do you want to introduce yourself? No, I see you're here twice now, but.
No, I think that Jessica has a question.
Yeah. Okay, Jessica?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right time to ask a question. We were talking about science and math being taught in English. That just made me think for a student transitioning, like my daughter, she'd be transitioning from a classic French collège. The way that math sciences are taught, is it going to be taught with the same method, or will that be difficult for her to transition?
Well, Sarah will be able to answer for science, and actually both teachers are completely bilingual, French and English speaking, and the manuals that we use are French manuals, so it will be quite a smooth transition, I can imagine. Sarah, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I can say that it's pretty smooth, that we adapted to the students and to the needs of the class. But we're really trying to transition towards the IB, and the IB method is quite international. It's not UK based. It's not A levels or things like that. So and Fabrice and I are both bilingual. So I do not think that would be an issue at all. If she's bilingual, there's no problem.
And we have small groups, so it's easy also to adjust to the children. I see that Marlene has joined us, so maybe Marlene, you can introduce yourself.
So, hi, can you hear me? Yes?
Yeah.
Hi, hello to everyone. So I'm Marlene Martin, I'm the teaching director. I'm just here to observe because I'm not in charge of the IB, Sarah and Pascal are, but you may meet me if your children join us as I work as counseling to our teachers, and I'm in the IB program, I'm the teaching support.
Thank you. Do you have a question as well? I see Sonia.
Yeah. So for a student in second that has only basic French, is it possible for her to follow your second cursus?
We do have students who have only basic French, but basic French is a requirement because we've realized that if students come with no language, no knowledge of French at all, it can be difficult for them. And so if your cousin is coming, she would be encouraged to study as much French as possible before that, or if necessary, maybe take classes outside the school when she arrives, just for the transition. What do you mean basic French? Is it A2 or?
I can't tell, but she's been taking French classes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been taking French classes, but I can't tell her level. Do you take a French level test?
No, we usually have a meeting either online or with the if the children are already in France, and if they have the possibility, we have a trial day so they can spend a day and see how the school is going and see how they like it. And if children are abroad, we have a meeting with Irene, who is our joint pedagogical director, and we will say a few words and see how she understands, but we don't take tests for that. So Sarah, I let you go.
Yep, I'll transition. Donc, qu'est-ce qui se passe après la seconde? What's happening after the seconde? Well, it's the IB diploma. And so I'm going to be talking a lot about that. Pascal already said that the school wanted a program that was still looking at fostering the children in its whole and not just looking at putting knowledge in their brains, and the IB does that pretty well. Another really good thing about the IB is that it can be tailored for very different kind of learners, different students with different strengths, and we're going to be focusing on their strength. And I'm going to be talking a lot about this right now. So what is the IB? Just if you're very new to that, the IB DP, that's what we're applying for. And so far, the process is going really great. So we're really looking forward to opening in next year. But the IB DP is really for the 2 last years. Donc, c'est pour les années de première et terminale. and it's an equivalent to the French baccalaureate. So it's a 2-year course, and you're really following your classes in a 2-year process. One of the key focus of the IB is to go beyond just the success in school, but to try to grow lifelong learners. And the IB identifies those learners profile attributes that they think are crucial that the students develop. And one thing that we're always talking with Pascal and Marlène is that we're already doing that at the lab school from a very, very young age. And so we're asking the students that join us for the IB to be very committed to develop those skills, because we're not just teaching them math and science and English, but we're trying to help them grow into wonderful human being, adults, citizens, and all those things are quite important. And we do focus from the college level on those attributes already, even from the primary level, but those become very, very important in the IB. And so the IB really tries to help the students grow. Yeah, I guess. So let's take a look at what IB looks like at the lab school, because you probably already know about the IB. If not, I would encourage you to either ask me questions or to go on the IB website. But what does it look like at lab school? Well, here are the classes that we offer. There are different groups, and I'm going to try to introduce that the best I can. The first group is the group of language and literature. And so in this first group at lab school, students can choose for their literature course, so leur classe de première langue, they can choose either French or English. This allows Francophone students or Anglophone students to really have their strength as their first language. Now, we have a lot of students that are bilingual at lab school. And so we do offer the possibility for students in the group 2, which is supposed to be the language acquisition group, to repeat a second literature class. I'm going to try to explain that better. Is that if a student is really strong in both French and English, which is what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish at the lab school, because we're really focusing on le bilinguisme, our students might want to take 2 literature classes, because at the end of the second, they have not decided where they want to study. They might want to study in an Anglophone country or in a Francophone country. And so we're still allowing them to have those 2 first languages. Now, if we have a student that is stronger in French and English is an acquisition language, they will be able to take French as a literature and then English as a second language, or the opposite. For example, in the case of Jessica's cousin, she could be taking an English literature class, but then a French as a second language class in group 2. The group 3 is the individuals and societies, and what we're offering at the lab school is psychology as an SL level. Everything else is at a standard and higher level. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. And we'll be offering economics. We have still some details about economics, but we'll be offering it in any cases. So that's for our group 3. Our group 4 are the sciences. We'll be offering biology or physics. I put computer science with a little star because it's something that we hope to be able to offer, but it's not yet for sure. Group 5, we're offering mathematics. That's the only choice here. And in group 6, we'll be offering music. That's the arts group, but we'll also be offering Spanish. If a student does not wish to do music, they can pick Spanish instead if they want to have a high focus on languages. Or if a student wants to pick a humanity class, another humanity class, they could choose a second group 3 class, or they could pick second science. So it allows us to really, as I said, tailor that diploma around the strength of the students. So really, to clarify, each student needs to pick one subject from each group. And I'm going to show 3 different examples, hopefully that will make sense. So in all of those groups, students pick one of them. Now, there are the core components to the IB, and one of my favorite things of the IB, because it's really focused on the research, on helping the students to have a balanced lifestyle, allowing them to think about what they're learning and how they're learning. We have the core aspects. All students will be involved in all the core aspects. Here, it's not for them to pick, they will be involved in all the core aspects. We have TOK, or in French, TDC, which is la théorie de la connaissance, or theory of knowledge. It's a class that will have an hour and a half of theory of knowledge a week, where they'll be discussing about how they're learning all of their subjects. They will have to write an essay about learning, and they will have to put together an exhibition about theory of knowledge. The second core component is the extended essay. The extended essay is like a high school thesis. That's basically what it is. It is about 4,000 words essay that the students will write during those 2 years of high school. And this essay will be on a topic that the students choose. It can be, there's really no limit to their students' imagination. It has to be centered around the subject that they're choosing, but it doesn't have to be about the curriculum. It's really for them to explore beyond the curriculum and to go do some research on aspects that they feel very interested in. And this extended essay is something that university really know about, and they usually ask about the title of the extended essay. So if the students know that they want to pursue a path, usually they do their extended essay in that topic. It's really a great way to show that early on maturity and involvement with academic work. The last aspect of the core courses is CAS. CAS stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service. The students have to show that they are involved in developing creative skills, athletic skills, and that they are involved in service, in community service, or putting together a big project, and they have to journal about that. So they have to reflect on what they do. And this is maybe my favorite part of the IB curriculum, because it really requires students to stay balanced and to try to find in what is really a rigorous curriculum. I'm being very honest with family, it is a rigorous curriculum, trying to find some balance, and how are they going to manage their learning time with also developing themselves and not being just in their brain. And the physical activity is very important, learning maybe to play an instrument or writing songs, knitting. Really, there's also no boundaries to CAS. So the students will be involved in all of those aspects of core and into 6 subjects. For those 6 subjects from those groups, they will have to choose 3 at a standard level and 3 at a higher level. Obviously, the higher level is more challenging. For many courses, the higher level is an extension of the standard level. So what we do is that in average, it's true for most of our classes, students have 4 times 45 minutes in the standard levels classes per week, and 6 times 45 minutes for the higher level. So if the classes that they take in higher level, it is not only more advanced, but it's heavier on the timetable. So the higher level, I will have conversation with all students at the end of the second year or when they register to try to decide what is the best path for them, so they can be successful in their IB diploma, so they can enjoy their IB diploma, and so they can prepare their university path. And those are really the 3 goals when we decide what works best. for students. So to put that into practice, I'm going to show you des exemples d'emploi du temps. I'm going to show you examples of timetables with 3 profiles that I've made up. I did not think about some existing students. I just made it up. And I hope that at the end of the 3, you can see that it's kind of the possibilities are almost endless. We're offering a lot of subjects. Many schools that open only offer 1 science, 1 language. We decided to offer a broad spectrum of classes to really help support our students best. So here it is. We have our first student. Our students is fully bilingual, and they are quite into the sciences. What could the choices look like for that students? Well, we would encourage that students to choose English A and French A, so both as a first language, as a literature. Then the students will choose humanities. Here I chose psychology to show you on the timetable, but they could have chose economics. Then because the student is very strong in sciences and want to study science probably at university, they're going to choose a science both in group 4 and in their group 6. And then they will have mathematics. The students has chosen both of their sciences as higher level, and they're really strong in English, so they decided to do one of the literature in higher level. So here is what the timetable would look like for that student for next year. So you can see that, like a university timetable, there are holes. And that is obviously because there are a lot of different subjects. Depending on what the student chooses, there are some classes that they will have free. And when I say free, it's usually study time. The students will use this time to study and sometimes to sleep in a little bit in the morning if they're lucky enough that their timetable allows that. But it's going to be study time. We're building an amazing library in our campus, so that's can be a room where they can do their work, collaborate. There will be lots of space in our campus for them to work independently. But if you take a look at it, the students had their sciences as, oh, I should have removed that, sorry. Both are their sciences as higher level. So they have 3 double times of science for both sciences, for both biology and physics. Same for the English A, and then the French A and psychology and math. You can see it's a little bit reduced time because it is SL. We're keeping 1 grade meeting, so one time that the students all meet together. At our school, we're doing conseil. It's a moment where our students can get together and talk about issues and talk about what's coming up in the life of the school. We really want to keep those core values of the lab school in the diploma program. So that's what it would look like for that student. Let's move on to students 2. That student is Anglophone. Not French is not a spoken language, not a first language. So they will choose English A and French B here. They're choosing a group 3. I chose psychology again. Then they really are into math and music. And the music, as we say, we are going to have a lovely music room, soundproof with many instruments. Un endroit, je vais passer en français parce que un endroit pour faire des montages et vidéos et sonores dans cette pièce. Et donc, so the student is going to choose music HL, and because they are strong in math, they are going to take mathematics HL and physics HL, because physics, it's basically applied math at this level. And so they're going to be quite happy with that. And so their timetable is going to look quite different from the other students. You can see that this student has Monday and Tuesday morning where they have a lot of their free time, and then on the Wednesday at the middle of the day. I try to balance the timetable, so it will change, which students would start always at 8:45, which we try to do it as late as possible because we know that the mind of teenagers needs some rest. So normally there's no possibility for students to always start at 8:45 if every day, if I made it work properly. And then same thing, we end at 5 p.m. and that is actually the heaviest options of all in terms of finishing at 5 p.m. But even in this case, there is a student that still finishes at 4:15 with about of an hour break and lunch break and some breaks in between. And here is student 3, my last student, bilingual. Yeah, I put a lot of bilingual because that's really what we're trying to accomplish at the lab school. The student is choosing, is really into the social sciences. The students maybe is thinking of going to Sciences Po after or something like that. And so this student is choosing an HL humanities in their group 3, but also a second humanity in their group 6. They're choosing biology and mathematics SL. When I thought of the students, I was going to think it's a student that's maybe not super into the STEMs. So here would be the option, they would stay in SL. Biology is what we would advise for a student who is maybe a little bit less feeling less strong in the SL classes. And so they will choose their HL classes in the literatures. And the timetable for the students would look like that. So it would be, again, a little bit different. So there is no one timetable that I can share with you, but there are many timetables that will exist depending of your student. And that is really one of the strengths of the International Baccalaureate, is that it is really student-centered and centered around the strength. And I hope that I demonstrated that there's a lot of things that can be possible within the IB at the lab school. Okay, so what happens after the student took all those courses, completed them, grew as an individual, learned how to knit and to play the viola, and is capable of is waking up to do jumping jacks in the morning? Well, they are probably going to go to university. And let's take a look at what are the outcomes for the future after an IB diploma. And I think this is an important question, and this is a discussion that we will for sure have with every family that choose the IB, because we need to understand what doors it opens, but what doors it may close as well. And so we want to be honest with that, because we want our students to be successful and not to set them for failure. The IB is absolutely amazing if your student is thinking of going and studying in Anglophone countries. There are more than those listed, but UK, US, Canada, Ireland, Australia, those countries, they not just accept the IB, they highly value the IB. In the UK, I have a little slide after where you can see that the success rates are higher for IB students than for A-levels in their own countries in the UK. So if your students might be interested in Anglophone country, I would highly recommend for them to go with the IB. This is a really the golden door to those countries. And in those countries, I would say also that they offer an education that is maybe more in line with the IB and that holistic view of the development of the children than maybe in our French universities. But yeah, it is also true of Francophone studies out of France. And so that's why we also want to encourage the students to have the 2 literature classes if they can take them. En Suisse, en Belgique, au Québec, ils valorisent vraiment le diplôme de l'IB dans beaucoup d'universités. Je vais continuer en français juste pour les universités françaises. Les universités françaises, ça va vraiment dépendre. Quand on parle des universités type la Sorbonne, où on peut rentrer sur dossier, là, il va pas avoir du tout de problème. On va pouvoir passer par les mêmes filières. Je pense que Marlène, si tu es encore avec nous, pourra peut-être en parler ou répondre à plus de questions là-dessus, parce que je sais qu'elle a pas mal de connaissances là-dessus. Je sais que Sciences Po valorise vraiment le diplôme de l'IB. Ils le mettent même sur leur site internet, qu'ils l'acceptent, ils en parlent. Certaines grandes écoles ont ce qu'on appelle des bachelor programs. Ces bachelor programs on peut entrer sur dossier et dans lequel ils valorisent vraiment le diplôme de l'IB. Les endroits qui ne sont pas inaccessibles, mais avec lesquels il y a encore des problèmes pour rentrer, ça va être les prépas françaises et médecine. Si votre élève, à la fin de la seconde, sait absolument que c'est médecine ou rien, pardon, je vais préciser, médecine en France, si c'est médecine en France ou une prépa française, on peut avoir une discussion sur quelle est la meilleure chose, peut-être est-ce qu'il y a des alternatives, mais on va être complètement honnête, l'IB, ce n'est peut-être pas la meilleure chose pour cet élève. Voilà. On veut être complètement transparent et ne pas faire que des élèves dans notre établissement se retrouvent en début d'année de terminale à comprendre que leur rêve va peut-être pas se passer ou qu'il y a un stress à la fin de l'année parce que c'est un élève qui a fait tout bien, qui a eu des super notes, mais qui ne voit pas ses vœux exaucés parce qu'ils ont choisi l'IB. Mais sur tout le reste, ça va pas être le cas. Et pour finir, et après je donnerai la parole, je prendrai les questions et je donnerai peut-être la parole à Marlène. J'ai vu que Marlène Célina.
Et puis on a la vidéo magnifique de toute l'équipe à présenter à la fin aussi.
Ah oui, pardon, bien sûr. Et donc, I talked about that slide just so you can see with the UK what's happening right now is that in the first one here, this is the engineer, les écoles d'ingénieurs anglaises. Then you can see with STEM, with achieving a first-class honor degree or pursuing further study in post-graduation, donc faire des masters et des PhD. On peut voir que the IB students are now taking the lead over the A-levels in terms of being ready. I've been teaching the IB now for 7 years. I mean, this year I'm not teaching it, but I'm preparing it. And I can tell you that students that come back from universities after an IB diploma, they always tell us, thank you, we were so prepared. The IB really prepared us for university. And I even had a parent that told me, and that was really, really nice. It was really nice conversation. Thank you for providing an opportunity for my students to confront the real life, like all the real academia, and to fail safely while they were still at home. Because the IB diploma is challenging, but can be worked around the student's strength, but it is a rigorous program. And doing that, and for students to be confronted to writing a 4,000 word essay while they're still in hopefully a happy place, a happy home, and where they are cared for, and they do not have to have work to pay for their apartment or whatever life may be for them, it makes a big difference. And being in a community that is small and tight like lab school, I think the IB makes a lot of sense. So this is for the presentation. Then we have the video of the team. Pascal, you wanted us to show it now. You're muted.
Je vais peut-être juste rajouter, moi je vais peut-être juste
Marlène.
rajouter à propos de rebonsoir. En fait, donc pour le système français, hein, c'est toujours Parcoursup qui est encore en voie de raffinement, j'allais dire. Donc c'est encore compliqué de savoir où on en sera dans 2 ans parce que tous les ans sur Parcoursup, sur les inscriptions, sur les changements, sur la plateforme elle-même en termes de poursuite d'études, de rang, enfin c'est encore un système en voie de stabilité. stabilisation. Donc, c'est un petit peu compliqué de dire ce que ce sera dans 2 ans. On a eu des retours sur le fait qu'effectivement, à l'heure actuelle, le système de notation de l'IB, qui n'est pas sur 20, qui est sur 7, a été des élèves qui avaient 7 sur 7 étaient considérés comme ayant eu 7 sur 20. Les autres échos qu'on a eus sont que dans ces cas-là, il y a quand même des possibilités de lettre de motivation et qu'il faut contacter directement un certain nombre d'enseignements du supérieur si on veut vraiment défendre un dossier, ce qui est de toute façon aussi actuellement le cas pour Parcoursup. Après, je pense que c'est ce que Sarah a souligné sur le fait que l'état d'esprit de l'IB, et sans doute à raison, est beaucoup plus conforme à ce qui est attendu dans les universités anglo-saxonnes par rapport au modèle de la prépa française qui est beaucoup plus... où l'autonomie n'est pas clairement le premier objectif. Donc voilà, c'est vraiment une démarche et un esprit différent, et c'est pour ça que c'est important, et Sarah l'a bien indiqué. À l'heure actuelle, ça ouvre beaucoup de portes, à part effectivement un système qui est complètement différent, mais en réalité, ce avec quoi nous on est tout à fait en accord, c'est que si on veut aller faire une prépa ou médecine actuellement en France, effectivement, l'IB n'est pas la meilleure préparation, et surtout, c'est pas le même état d'esprit, en fait. Donc, ce serait un peu presque frustrant, sans doute, pour certains élèves d'avoir expérimenté l'IB, l'autonomie qui est demandée, la transdisciplinarité, pour se retrouver dans un système qui est beaucoup moins ouvert. Donc, c'est un petit peu ce biais-là. Mais à nouveau, de toute façon, on refera un point à la fin après cette session de Parcoursup de cette année pour ajuster, et lorsque nos élèves seront vraiment confrontés à ça dans 2 ans, parce que c'est vraiment compliqué, et pour discuter régulièrement avec des directeurs de lycées publics ou privés sous contrat, ils sont vraiment encore en phase d'expectative sur beaucoup de parcours du supérieur. Voilà ce que je pouvais ajouter.
Je crois qu'il y avait une question de Sonia, et après je prépare la vidéo.
Oui, mais c'est peut-être mieux de la poser plus tard. Est-ce que vous accordez des rendez-vous individuels?
En fait, c'est ce que je n'ai pas précisé en introduction, mais c'est peut-être le moment de le faire maintenant, même si on n'est pas très nombreux. Au moment où vous vous préinscrivez, si vous souhaitez inscrire votre enfant ou en l'occurrence votre cousine, on a une plateforme dont on vous communiquera le lien, et donc vous vous préinscrivez, et à ce moment-là, un rendez-vous individuel est inscrit. Il y a une procédure d'examen des dossiers. Un rendez-vous individuel est pris avec Irène, dont je parlais tout à l'heure, et donc à ce moment-là, vous pourrez poser toutes les questions qui sont spécifiques et pas générales par rapport au projet. Est-ce que tu as la vidéo juste après, Sarah?
Je vais faire ça.
Voilà, parce que les enseignants sont avec les élèves toute la journée, donc on ne leur demande pas de venir participer aux réunions d'information, en tout cas pas à tous, sinon Sarah. Mais c'est une manière de rencontrer l'équipe quand même. Et donc on va vous passer cette petite vidéo.
Bonjour, je suis Philippine Voitier, je suis l'enseignante francophone de la classe des CP-CE1 à la Lab School, et je travaille dans l'école depuis 2019. Avant ça, j'ai travaillé dans l'éducation nationale, essentiellement dans des classes en maternelle, et ce que j'aime particulièrement à la Lab School, c'est de pouvoir travailler en binôme d'enseignants, d'avoir 2 regards en parallèle sur les élèves, et d'échanger sur nos pratiques professionnelles avec des enseignants de culture anglophone.
Hi, I'm Angeline. I'm the English teacher for CP and CE1 at Lab School. Before I came to Lab School, I taught in international schools in Spain. Before that, I taught for 10 years in London.
Bonjour, alors je m'appelle Océane Dujas, je suis l'enseignante francophone à la Lab School depuis la rentrée 2022. Je suis professeure des écoles depuis 6 ans, j'ai enseigné 5 ans à Toulouse dans l'éducation nationale. Je suis partie une année faire du FLE aux États-Unis.
Hi, I'm Nyasha and I'm the Anglophone teacher for the CE2 CM1. I joined Lab School a year ago, and before that I was in the UK working as a French teacher and deputy head of year at a secondary school. I'm delighted to spend another year with the students and team here at Lab School.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Pauline, je suis enseignante de CM de 6e à la Lab School depuis 2018 et j'ai été formée en Angleterre pour enseigner le français langue étrangère.
Hi, my name is Lauren. I'm the Anglophone teacher in CM de 6e. I am a Scottish primary teacher and I just moved back to Paris in August of this year. I'm so happy to be at Lab School.
Bonjour, je suis Adrien, enseignant à la Lab School. J'enseigne le français, l'histoire et la géographie. De formation, j'ai appris le français en lettres modernes à la Sorbonne en France et je suis arrivé à l'enseignement de l'histoire pour des raisons plutôt personnelles liées à ma passion pour la géographie et l'histoire. Je suis celui qui va préparer vos enfants au brevet pour les 3e et pour le lycée, la préparation sera plutôt centrée sur le diplôme international de l'IB.
Hi, my name is Kirsten, and I'm the English-speaking teacher for the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. Before coming to the Lab School, I spent 11 years teaching teenagers and university students in literature, research, writing, and cultural studies. I'm so happy to be joining the Lab School team.
Bonjour, je suis Charlotte, professeure de français, anglais et espagnol au collège et au lycée. Avant la Lab School, j'étais enseignante aux États-Unis et en Angleterre. J'ai également une expérience dans le digital learning en tant que conceptrice de formation.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Fabrice, je suis enseignant de mathématiques à la Lab School. J'enseigne principalement en anglais, mais assez fréquemment en français aussi. J'ai travaillé dans différentes écoles internationales dans plusieurs pays différents. Et mon style d'enseignement est un style d'enseignement assez non directif et non frontal. En fait, je me vois plus comme un facilitateur de savoir plutôt qu'un transmetteur de savoir. Et je travaille avec mes élèves de façon à leur permettre de prendre du plaisir à ce qu'ils font, mais aussi d'apprendre comment apprendre, de façon à ce qu'ils puissent continuer d'apprendre tout au long de leur vie.
My name is Sarah. I'm the science teacher for the middle and high school. My teaching philosophy is to help students develop their curiosity for the world that surrounds them. I conduct my classes in both French and English, but mainly in English to help them develop their bilingualism. At the Lab School, in addition, I am the IBDP coordinator. I am helping the students to transition to the years of high school.
Je m'appelle Virginie, je suis professeure de mathématiques au cycle 4 à la Lab School pour la 2e année. J'ai rejoint l'école parce que je m'intéressais à une école qui était orientée solutions dans la manière de faire apprendre aux enfants les mathématiques et les autres matières. Je suis devenue enseignante après une quinzaine d'années dans l'ingénierie et j'apprécie aujourd'hui d'être dans un métier plus humain qui accompagne les enfants pour leur futur.
Hi, my name is Erin Sharp. I'm from the cold and snowy island of Newfoundland in Canada, but I'm coming to you direct from Tokyo to Paris. It's very exciting to be working at Lab School. I'm teaching music to almost all the kids in the school, and it's so exciting to be part of a team with this kind of research-based and well-being of the child-centric philosophy.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Irène, je suis la directrice pédagogique adjointe à la Lab School, professeure des écoles de formation ainsi que professeure de langue étrangère espagnol et anglais. J'ai rejoint la Lab School pour un poste plutôt dans la direction, donc je m'occupe d'un côté de l'accompagnement pédagogique de l'équipe et aussi des élèves et après d'un autre côté de l'accompagnement des familles qui déjà souhaitent rejoindre la Lab School et des familles qui sont à la Lab School, donc je fais un peu le lien entre l'école et les familles.
Bonjour, je suis Margot, la chargée de communication de la Lab School. Après un master en design graphique, je rejoins l'équipe en 2019. En plus de m'occuper de la création de contenu des réseaux sociaux, je suis également en charge des services civiques et des cours d'art plastique.
Bonjour, je suis Tamara Obiali, je suis la responsable périscolaire et je m'occupe de la pause méridienne et de la garderie. Je suis également en charge d'autres missions en accompagnement d'élèves et en administratif et de services généraux.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Marlène Martin et j'ai la chance de travailler à la Lab School dans l'accompagnement des enseignants pour la mise en œuvre de leurs projets pédagogiques en tant que directrice pédagogique. Donc mon rôle concrètement est de lire tout un tas d'articles scientifiques sur les recherches en sciences de l'éducation et de voir comment on peut les transformer en pratiques concrètes sur le terrain pour travailler avec les enfants et les enseignants.
Et voilà.
Et voilà, vous avez vu tout le monde. Est-ce qu'il vous reste des questions? Il nous reste quelques minutes.
It's not a question on my end. I just want to say this is really, really great. C'est enthousiasmant. Vraiment, vous transmettez quelque chose de super positif. Je ne m'y attendais pas. Voilà. Moi, j'ai fait ce genre de transition. J'ai grandi en Californie. Je suis passée du public américain à une école alternative, on va dire, qui avait voilà, au milieu de lycée. Et ça m'a rappelé un peu cette énergie-là. Et voilà, la présentation des profs était top. On voit qu'il y a des personnalités différentes. Puis beaucoup de voilà, c'est super. Merci beaucoup.
Merci à vous. Voilà, la prochaine étape, ça sera donc d'envoyer à toutes les personnes qui s'étaient inscrites, parce qu'il y a sans doute eu un problème de transmission, puisque nous sommes peu nombreux finalement ce soir, envoyer à toutes les personnes qui s'étaient inscrites un lien vers déjà la captation de cette vidéo si vous voulez la partager avec d'autres, et puis un lien d'inscription vers la plateforme MySchool. So next step will be to send a link to the video to the participants and all the people who registered for this meeting, and a link to register on MySchool, our platform. And after that, if you're interested, you will be able to have a meeting with Irène online. And if you're in Paris, your child can come and spend the day with us. And maybe Victorine, you wanted to add something?
If you have any question about the means to pay the scholar fees, well, you can just ask or send an email and we will answer to you. We have a system of scholarship which makes some families with minus resources can come to school, but if you come in IB, you will have also we have expenses really due to IB, so we are une obligation de faire un supplément par rapport aux frais scolaires. Voilà, donc toutes les questions, vous avez déjà tout sur le site, mais si vous avez des questions particulières, n'hésitez pas.
Et vous pourrez aussi les poser à Irène lors du rendez-vous.